Tokyo, Laurel Hubbard had not sought to be a trailblazing figure, and she doesn't want to be. From a hotel room overlooking Tokyo Bay, hours after her competition ended, Hubbard shied away from the significance of it. "I am reluctant to take it because I don't think it should be historical," Hubbard said. "I think that as we move into sort of a new and more understanding world, people are starting to realize that people like me are just people. We are human, and as such I hope that just by being here that's enough." Though she hadn't intended it to be, Hubbard's participation became a referendum on transgender athletes and their place in sports. In the United Kingdom, vocal groups pushed to exclude transgender women from rugby and called them a threat to safety. All of that has come at a cost to Hubbard, who has kept an otherwise private life. The New Zealand Olympic Committee and IOC have sought to shield her from the negative attention here, limiting her media access. "I tried not to dwell on, I suppose, negative coverage or negative perception because it makes a hard job even harder," she said. "It's hard enough lifting a barbell, but if you're putting more weight on it, it just makes it an impossible task really." Hubbard had wanted to compete in these games, despite the attention and blowback, because of what they represent. For weightlifting, they are the pinnacle event. It is the furthest she could go in her sport. There is value in proving herself on this stage, even if the competition was far from what she had hoped. Hubbard did not finish after failing to register a snatch. She came closest on her second attempt, seemingly getting credit for the 125-kilogram snatch before it was ruled a no-lift. On her last attempt, she struggled to stand and dropped the bar behind her. As she walked off the platform, she smiled at the crowd of athletes, officials and media, and made the shape of a heart with her hands. "Anyone I think can train on their own time, but to actually be called to account on platform, we've got 1 minute to make it all happen, that's the real test," she said. "That's what's really brought me here, is to answer those questions, and I may not have got the answers that I would hope for, but I'm just glad that I had that chance, that opportunity," and the IOC's recognition of sport being open to all people was heartening to Hubbard. The IOC is set to announce a new framework in the coming months to guide sport federations on how to include transgender athletes while preserving fairness, particularly in the women's category. Hubbard expects those policies to evolve and change over time as sport comes to understand more about and includes transgender athletes. For Hubbard, any new policy seems unlikely to affect her competitive future. At 43, Hubbard said years of training and competing, of thrusting hundreds of pounds above her head over and over, has taken its toll on her body. She's ready to focus on other parts of her life. "While I recognize that my involvement in sport is a topic of considerable interest to some, in some ways, I'm looking forward to this being the end of my journey as an athlete and the attention that comes from it," she said. It's attention she has shied from, even physically. As she spoke to a small group of reporters, Hubbard fidgeted with her hands and sat on them when the unease seemed to be too much. She hadn't set out to make history, but doing so was part of the bargain she made to pursue her athletic goals. Reluctantly, she accepted she had broken that barrier. "What I hope is, if I am in a position to look back, that this will just be a small part of history, just a small step," she said. "I know that we often look at history in terms of singular events, but really, I think it's a continuum. It is a product of so many uncountable lives and experiences, and I really hope that with time any significance to this occasion is diminished by events to come."